The multi-trillion-dollar non-targeted Band-Aid.
Mitch McConnell saying much of the groundwork for a strong recovery is already in place.
The Stability Office report says up to 10 million Americans may not have claimed their money, many of them low-income or Social Security recipients who are not required to pay federal taxes. Those who may have missed out on payments have until November 15th to file a simplified tax return in order to claim their stimulus.
A fourth round of stimulus checks, everybody. A stimulus check timeline has been announced. This includes when these new payments will be sent out and who will be eligible to receive the extra money. Millions of Americans are able to receive and get the one-time relief check. I have some awesome news, everybody, to share. Millions of Americans can expect to see paper checks in their mailboxes next month. Most of the payments will be in the form of tax rebates, which aim to offset high inflation that's negatively impacting Americans from food to gas. And the others act as stimulus checks, which are given to those who have suffered financial hardship from the crisis. Regardless, there will be a one-time stimulus relief payment. First, eligible people in Chicago, Illinois residents can apply for each month and receive the gas and transit card funds. To apply, you must be a Chicago resident and at least 18 years old and have a current and valid city sticker with the correct mailing information for your vehicle. Also, your income must be at or below 100% of the area median income for Chicago. This is $93,000 for a household of 4. Chicago will issue up to 50,000 prepaid gas cards of $150 and 100,000 prepaid transit cards of $50 under the program. Cards will also be distributed each month. Millions in the state of Indiana have started to receive the rebate payments in May. The refunds are worth $125 per individual and $250 for married couples. Approximately 4.3 million Indiana residents will receive the $125 payment, about 85% of the state's adult population. Direct deposits will continue to go up this summer, while residents who opted for a paper check for those can expect to receive July and August checks. Any taxpayer who filed their 2020 taxes before January 3rd qualifies for the cash. Indiana governor has also proposed to send more money back to taxpayers. According to the governor's office, if it's approved, each eligible Indiana resident will get a combined total of about $350 in payments. Married couples filing jointly will receive $700, and also thousands of low and moderate income residents in Johnson County have applied for one-time stimulus checks of $1,400 under the Direct Assistance Program. To qualify, you must meet a few pieces in the criteria. You may also qualify if you're eligible for a federal program like SNAP or SSI. As far as income goes, it must be $45,000 or below for a household of 1, $51,000 for a household of 2. And now President Biden is urging Congress to pause the gas and diesel tax for 3 months, through September, in an effort to provide much-needed relief for motorists being punished at the pump. The national average price of gas hit a record $5 a gallon in June, and it's expected to increase into the summer with higher demand as travel heats up. Experts say that halting the federal gas tax, which stands at 18 cents a gallon, might not be as beneficial as you think, and are calling for other forms of relief. Joe Biden is hoping to enact a temporary halt to the federal gas and diesel tax without getting the highway infrastructure fund.
Or the IRS had a non-filer tool, but unfortunately that non-filers tool has been closed as of now. So they could pretty much just file for stimulus 1 and 2, just go and file a 2020 tax return. And then for the third stimulus payment that came out in 2021, you can still file your tax return for 2021 and you can claim that credit on when you file your taxes this year.
Is it a pretty easy process to file for that money that you didn't get last year? Is that something that people are going to need help with? Or is that something that people can, if I didn't get a stimulus payment, I could just go ahead and do it online myself?
Well, unfortunately, the IRS system is really kind of bad right now.
1% inflation rate, that the cost of living increase for next year for Social Security beneficiaries would be 10.5%. If so, that would be a record high. What that means in practice is that the average check would go up by about $175 a month to a monthly amount of $1,668. But there are some wild cards to this.
So guys, economists are now warning lawmakers of a recession, which may lead everybody to rising poverty in many unemployment states. Now, the IRS has just released new details on the next batch of checks that they're sending out, and right now, thousands of dollars can be claimed by many low-income households. But there's a deadline to receive the stimulus check, so be sure to continue watching this video because we get into more important information about the stimulus payments. Like this: if you receive a letter from the IRS, don't ignore it. According to CNBC, you could be one of 9 million people who the tax agency says can still claim thousands of dollars in stimulus and the child tax credit payments. You have to act quick. The IRS said it began mailing letters in October to reach millions of people who haven't claimed benefits like the stimulus checks, earned income tax credit, and the child tax credit. And according to the agency, people who are eligible only have until November 17th to claim the money. During the massive stimulus effort to help keep households afloat and financially afloat during the crisis, the IRS relied on tax returns, everybody, to determine eligibility as well as where to send the payments, as tax returns include bank account information or home address for mailing the checks. But about 9 million Americans have yet to claim the stimulus funds because they just didn't know and file a 2021 tax return. The letters will let people know that they may be eligible and how to claim the money. The IRS said the 9 million people who were identified by the Treasury's Office of Tax Analysis are those who are not required to file taxes because they have very low incomes. Single taxpayers under 65 years of old typically don't have to file a tax return if they earn less than $12,000 a year. So while that goes up to $14,000 for some people. The 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit is the official name of the third round of payments authorized by lawmakers, and it's provided up to $1,400 per person, including qualifying children claimed on a tax return. Let's not forget that means a family of 4 could qualify for up to $5,600 in stimulus money. Under the law, the full amount is available to single taxpayers who earn less than $75,000 and married couples who earn less than $150,000. Payments are gradually phased out for people who earn above those thresholds. In this year's hot pace of job creation may have slowed slightly in October, but unemployment is expected to remain very low as companies continue to deal with worker shortages. According to Dow Jones, economists expect about 205,000 jobs, everybody, that were added in October, and forecasting unemployment rate stayed at 3.5%. That compares to job growth of 263,000 in September. Wage growth was expected to have cooled slightly, with average hour wages gaining 0.3% in the month, or 4.7% over a year ago, down from 5% annual pace in September. So for the Federal Reserve, let's talk about this. Economists say the type of job growth that's expected in October is not going to sway the central bank from its aggressive rate hiking path. Jerome Powell said Wednesday that the Fed could reduce the size of its interest rate hikes, but it may need to raise rates to an even higher than expected level just to stop inflation. Economists expect that rate hikes will eventually slow the economy enough to crimp the job market up. So one economist told CNBC that the Fed is now targeting the labor market and is willing to go even further on this. Recent data shows job openings surged in September despite the Fed's effort to cool the historically hot labor market. And this has helped the highest inflation increase since the mid-1980s. Early employment openings for the month totaled 10.7%, and also, if the October payrolls are much stronger than expected, the Fed may not slow its pace of hiking when it next meets on December 13th.